Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, and today we are talking about all of the books that I read in August that I haven't talked about elsewhere. The first thing that I read outside of a video was Sweet Captivity by Julia Sykes. This is a captor-captive romance, and in the beginning of the book, the heroine gets captured by the hero because I don't remember why, and that kind of speaks to my overall feeling of this book. I ended up giving it 2 stars. It was just okay. It was short. All of the bad elements of a captor-captive, I feel like it didn't do a good job of developing anything, and the heroine kept repeatedly saying that BDSM is perverted, and she kept saying that over and over again, which I just don't love. Like, I don't like the idea of, like, this is a thing you enjoy, why are you demeaning yourself and the people that are reading it by saying like it's perverted over and over again. So it was a below average captor-captive. I then listened to Seatmates, which is the 3rd book in the Love Lines series. This is an Audible original series that I absolutely love. Some of the best audiobooks that I have ever heard. And this one in particular is about 2 people who get stuck on a bus together. One guy is going on a date. She's going for a job interview, and this is a full cast with sound effects and everything, and it's like their short little romance, and it's super cute. I always love Cara Stone stories. I've only listened to one of them, the first one in the series, but I loved that one, and like, it's a whole audiobook experience. I would definitely recommend it if you haven't listened to them already and you have Audible, because it's just perfection. I ended up giving that 5 out of 5 stars. I then read Teach Me by Alexandria House. This is a student-teacher romance, and in the beginning of the book, the heroine is teaching a Psychology 101 class that the hero has to take to graduate. He is an ex-NFL star, I think, or NBA star, one of those 2 sports. I think it's NFL, maybe it's NBA, I can't remember. He is a single father. He has 2 kids, one of which is on the autism spectrum and the other one is deaf. They have an attraction for each other, and she very much fights it. She tells him she's not going to be with a student, so he waits until she's no longer his teacher, and they have this very sweet relationship that it does involve a BDSM dynamic in the bedroom, and I really enjoyed it. I think it was a fantastic like intro to BDSM if you are not really familiar with that. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I then read A Vow of Obedience for the Brianna Hale Backlist Read Along Live for the month, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It is a mafia romance book, and in the beginning of the book, the hero finds out brother was killed by the heroine's dad. So she gets kidnapped by him. She was put in a convent, or she like put herself in a convent to atone for some sins that her father committed, and she has taken a vow of silence. So for the majority of this, I would say like 96% of this book, there is no dialogue between the characters, but you can still feel like their non-verbal communication. Like, you can still feel how they communicate without using words, and I really enjoyed it. I think it was just the right amount of mafia for the page count, and I think that their relationship was cute, and as always, the hero was an absolute daddy. Next up, I read Ivy by Willa Nash for my Try a Chapter tag, and this is a Gossip Girl-esque story. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and it follows 3 points of view. In the beginning of the book, one of the heroines goes to this private school, and she gets a too good to be true room for $400 a month in this like palatial mansion, and it is inhabited by 2 other women, and you kind of get embroiled in this like family drama, rich people drama, and they all have their own different like love interests, and you're following those different plot lines. I really enjoyed this. I think it was just fun and over dramatic. It had tons of miscommunication, all of the very like stereotypical, almost like fan fiction-y, over dramatic soap opera-y plot lines you could imagine. It was just a fun time. I wish we had gotten a little bit more of them being like friends, and while I acknowledge the realism of not all women are friends, I wish that that had been a bigger part, because I feel like it would have pulled all the plot lines together a little bit more, because the two of the girls, the ones that are already living in the house, are friends, very like Serena and Blair relationship, and then the heroine that just moved into the house, she's dating one of their brothers, but there really isn't much overlapping. I then read Don't Hex and Drive, which is the second book in the Stay a Spell series, and this is about a witch and a vampire, and I gave the first one in this series 5 stars. It was absolutely stunning, and I gave this one 4 stars. In the beginning of the book, their meet cute is Devraj, who's the hero, hits Isadora with his car, and they end up having to work together to find a person that is attempting to traffic blood. And I think that the thing that bothered me about their relationship was it was a lot of sexual encounters pretty early on, which we know I don't really enjoy. The tension was lost, like the sexual tension was lost early on, and the will they won't they of them getting together, like obviously they will. I didn't love it as much as I liked the first one, but it was still really good. The audiobook experience was really good. It's like a good pick-me-up, and it's something fun if I want to just listen to something fun. I then read The Highwaymen. So this is a historical romance, arguably one of Kerrigan Byrne's most popular, and it's for such a good reason. This is a historical romance following a woman who, in her childhood, she met this guy named Dugan. They met in an orphanage. She was like a duchess. She was sent there by her father to await like her basically growing up and getting married to this guy through this arranged marriage. She meets Dugan, who is also at this orphanage, and they form a really close friendship. And then one day she is assaulted by one of the like friars or the fathers or whatever they're called, the clergymen, and she goes to Dugan in the middle of the night and tells him what happened, and they attempt to run and they are caught, and he ends up killing someone, and he is sent to prison for 7 or 10 years, I think. And we flash forward 7 years. The heroine is now working for the Scotland Yard. She is a secretary, and they have just caught a well-known criminal named Dorian in the area in London. They have an encounter while he is being he's being interrogated, aka he's being beaten, where it is revealed that she has been using Dugan's last name. And then Dorian ends up escaping and capturing the heroine one night and bringing her back to his estate in Scotland, and they enter into this like marriage of convenience, essentially, in order to get revenge on the people that killed Dugan in prison, and to help the heroine, get her duchessy, whatever it's called, back. Her legacy back. Wow. It's so beautiful. I think the standout thing for me is the hero. I love the heroine, she's great, but the hero is just like the perfect amount of broody. He's in prison, and he went through a lot. He went through a lot of abuse, a lot of physical, sexual, mental abuse, and so he feels very unclean, and he feels all of these things for the heroine, but he feels like he can't touch her. He doesn't want to ruin her. She's like the only pure thing in his life, and seeing them work through that together again is so beautiful. Kerrigan Byrne is just one of those authors, very much like Pam Godwin, who is so good at taking this really intense trauma and growing the characters independently and together so well in a believable way, and her writing is just bar none. 5 stars. I don't know if I said that already. We then have Moon Touched, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. This is a PNR. It is about a woman who is a wolf shifter, and she is half human, and so her pack like really hates her, essentially. They don't really feel like she should be there. She's a disgrace to their pack, and even her father really mistreats her. And in the beginning of the story, they are on their way to the Convergence, which is supposed to be this ceremony where newborn shifters are blessed by these 3 witches who like help them unlock their powers. Then you have the shifters who are of age, who haven't been able to shift into their wolf yet. They go through a ritual to unlock their wolf. And then lastly is the mating ritual, and it has all of the packs from across the country come, and the heroine unlocks her wolf, and she is mated with a rival pack's son, and he rejects her mating bond, and it results in an attack between the two packs, and her entire pack is slaughtered. She ends up getting taken by this pack that hundreds of years ago were thrown out of the Zodiac pack, and they want to be recognized by Zodiac packs again. So they show up to the Convergence, the packs deny their request to be legitimized, and then at the end, while this slaughter is happening, they come in and they take the heroine back to their like wolf compound thingy, and she works with them to get revenge on them slaughtering her entire pack. And I ended up giving this 3 stars. It was alright. It wasn't anything to write home about. The writing was okay, but I didn't feel like anything was super well developed, and it just felt like I was there just reading it. So I am interested to pick up more from the author because I've heard good things about her other series, but this one was very mediocre. So next up, I read Flock, and I gave this 2 stars. I don't want to go too in depth about this because Kate Stewart is currently facing some repercussions for some of her racist actions in several of her books. I read this not knowing that I had read something by her previously. I read The Guy on the Right, which I DNF'd at like 50% or 45% because of several issues that I had with it, including the white female main character dressing as Medea and speaking in a very like stereotypically black way, and some just other like nice guy things. And I didn't realize that this was the same author, and I picked up Flock, and I have an entire reading vlog, where one of my weekly reading vlogs, where I rant about this book for like 15 to 20 minutes. So if you are interested in my full in-depth thoughts, I would check that out. I originally gave it 2 stars with the intention of reading the sequel, but I don't think I'm going to. My reasoning behind reading the sequel is very flimsy. I don't think I'm gonna like it anyways. So at this point, I have no intention in continuing, and I didn't like this one. The guys felt very manipulative, and overall it just was not good. So next up, I read Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is a very popular romance series. Lily is addicted to sex, Lo is addicted to alcohol, and this is their codependent relationship. They are fake dating to convince their family that they like to throw them off the trail of their addictions, while they are actively feeding into their addictions. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. As you can see, there were a lot of moments in this that I really enjoyed. In my last week's reading vlog, I go into depth about my feelings about this, where I overanalyze this to the max, but I really enjoyed this. This is a very different story than I was anticipating, and I might have overanalyzed to the point where I looked into deeper meanings than were probably there or possibly there, but I really enjoyed this. I think it's a fantastic story, and I'm definitely interested in reading more from this author and reading the rest of the series, despite not usually liking series following the same couple. Next up, I read Private Eye by Katrina Jackson, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I think the hero in this, Kenny, is absolutely a standout character. This is about a cam model who has to work with a CIA agent or an agency agent, a spy, to bring down an arms dealer who is working in the modeling site that the heroine uses. And they had a previous history together where he would request private chats with her and then on the website, and then they had that sort of relationship. And she doesn't know that it's him, and he found her through like the same operation, and he was supposed to stop watching her, but he didn't. And so they had like this romantic relationship that never went beyond these private chats that they have, but they both kind of like were feeling each other. And then it's revealed that he knew who she was the entire time. I give this 3 out of 5 stars. There were several things about this that I didn't like, including an early hookup. There was also a very weird narrative style where we would flash to other points of view of people from the series and follow their timeline of events when this story was going on, which I didn't love because I felt like it resulted in us not developing the main relationship enough. And so despite loving their relationship and loving them individually, I loved the hero. He was a cinnamon roll. I loved the heroine. She was very sex positive and very confident in her body but shy in other places. Despite loving them and their relationship, I didn't love the story as a whole. I then listened to Only When It's Us by Chloe Leese, and I also gave this 3 out of 5 stars. This is a new adult sports romance. The hero is hard of hearing and the heroine is a soccer player or something like that. And they end up getting paired together in their class after a like bad meet cute where she feels like he's ignoring her, but it's really because he didn't hear her, having to be paired together to work together for projects and stuff. I'm not a sports person, and this didn't really have anything like major plot wise that could keep my attention. I enjoyed the hero. He's just a delight to read, and he was very sweet, very caring, but altogether I found the heroine to be immature, and I didn't find the story that interesting overall. Next up, I read Waking Olivia by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This is a very popular new adult sports romance about Olivia and Will. Olivia is new to town. She is new to the track and field team, and Will is her coach, and she runs in her sleep due to some trauma that she's endured. And they have this antagonistic relationship to begin with. She reveals that she runs in her sleep, and he starts helping her, and their relationship buds from there. I would say about 60% of this involves emotional cheating. He has a girlfriend for the majority of this. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a good romance. I love Elizabeth O'Rourke's writing. I just don't feel like their romance was developed all of that much. I found that in the hero's point of view for a good portion of this book, he was just talking about how attractive she was and how much everybody else wanted her, and we did a lot of introspection with the heroine into her traumas, revealing her secrets over the book, do a lot of relationship growth. I will say at the end it did get better, and watching them help each other through some of the traumas and baggage that they've carried along was nice, but overall the relationship just wasn't at the point that I wanted it to be at the end. So I'm definitely interested in reading more from this author, but this was a sort of disappointment for me. It's still a 4. So next up, I read Thief of Shadows. This is the 4th book in the Maiden Lane series. This is a historical romance series, and this one follows Winter Makepeace and the heroine who I can't remember the name of. He runs the orphanage. This entire series is set in St. Giles, and it sort of centers around the ghost of St. Giles, who is like this Batman vigilante, and this orphanage that the Makepeace family runs. And all of the other romances have been like adjacent stories, either Makepeace family members or like people adjacent to the story, and the heroine in this is a patroness of the orphanage. And she is tasked by some of the other patronesses to get him up to snuff so that he can attend society events, because one of the other patronesses is attempting to overthrow him and bring another manager in. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I eagerly anticipated Winter's story. He is the ghost of St. Giles, and there's kind of this mystery going on in the first 4 novels about the ghost of St. Giles. What does he do? How did he come to be? And I feel like this book focused a lot on him as the ghost, trying to figure out this murder mystery or this kidnapping mystery, but not enough on the romantic relationship. That was kind of a running theme or running issue that I had in a lot of these books this month. And so this one was kind of a disappointment to me. I'm definitely interested in seeing how the things that were revealed in this book flourish in the coming books, but I didn't feel like their romance got the justice that I wanted. And then my most recent read for the month, and easily one of my favorites alongside the Highwaymen, is The Brazen and the Beast. This is the 2nd book in the Bare Knuckle Bastards series, and this follows the Beast / Wit and Hattie or Henrietta. And in the beginning of the book, she meets Wit, who is the Beast, because her brother tied Wit up in the end of the last book and put him in her carriage. So her and her friend are going out for the night, and they discover him in her carriage, and she pushes him out of the moving carriage, and he basically vows to track her down. She knows why he was there, who attacked him, all of that. He tracks her down to a brothel because she is attempting to lose her virginity in an attempt to ruin herself so that she can't get married and she will be viewed as a viable option to take over her father's shipping business. They basically strike up a deal that he will take her virginity if she discover what was taken from him the night of the attack, or return what was taken from him the night of the attack. The overarching plot of this series, there are 3 brothers and 1 sister who were raised by this duke. The sister was anointed or was baptized and led everyone to believe, the duke led everyone to believe that the woman in the Bare Knuckle Bastards, Grace, was a boy and that she was going to be his heir while he plotted to get another heir. And so there were 3 boys that he sired with 3 other women, and then he basically went to all of them individually and propositioned them that if they win this like tournament, that he will appoint them as the heir. They will become a duke once he passes, and they'll have all this fortune. And so individually they all have their reasons for wanting to become the heir, and Wit was the one that was kind of the protector of the group. He didn't really like the violence that the Duke forced them into. He forced them to beat each other, to do terrible things to each other. He would lock them out in the snow with no clothes. Like, he would just do very horrible things. And after the events of the first one, where the son that got the dukedom is now trying to hunt them down, there has been an attack at the end of the first one that Wit is trying to figure out who orchestrated to find the Duke / their brother. And he thinks that Henrietta's brother, or someone that Henrietta knows, was involved in the attack. So he like meets up with her, and she's not at all what he expected. She is brazen. She is very strong-willed. She is completely badass. She's curvy. She is not at all what society wants her to be. She is not the son that her father wanted, and she is desperate to take life into her own hands and grasp the things that she wants. She wants to have her father's shipping company. She wants to make her own way in the world without a man, and she wants to, you know, throw off those burdens society puts on her as a woman. So he is not at all expecting the firecracker that he gets, and again, their relationship is just beautiful. Watching Wit truly accept her as an equal and not just another person for him to protect is fantastic. The arc of Wit's character in this, he's so enamored, so gone for her, but she really demands things out of him that he's not willing to give, just by his own, the sort of person that he is, his feelings of failure because he couldn't protect the people that he loved. So she really forces him to confront those things and give her the things that she demands and that she deserves, and their relationship is perfect. And I'm excited to continue the series. 5 out of 5 stars, one of the best historical romances I've ever read, and I absolutely loved it. Those are all of the things that I read in the month of August. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on anything that I read or what your favorite read of the month was. I would love to know. If you don't have anything to say, leave a cactus or a plant emoji down in the comments. If you are looking for more content from me, check out my Instagram, check out my podcast Instagram. Make sure to follow my horror podcast on all of your favorite streaming platforms. I will catch you guys in my next one, and thanks so much for watching.